Very well done for me too is when I have the honour and the pleasure to introduce our next regular on the show, Ita Buttrose. Here's Ita. It's always nice to have you here in the studio.
Oh, it's always nice to be here, Bert.
You well?
Very well.
Did you see Christine Keeler a few moments ago?
Yes, I did. I saw her in the dressing room and I watched you interview her. Most interesting.
Ita, what do you think? That sort of scandal to break in 1989, would it be a near storm in a teacup?
I think if you were associated with the War Minister and a Russian, it would probably still be a storm in 1989. Big? Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Bring down a government, do you reckon?
Would depend I think it would depend on the circumstances the government was in at the time. You know, if the electorate was fed up with the government and was looking for the last little reason, it could be the nudge that was needed.
Mm. Well, it was quite a time. Yeah, I can assure you, of course, you wouldn't remember back to those years, but...
I remember Mother telling me, Bert,
yes, of course you did. Ita, just recently in the Sydney Sunday Herald, there was the result of something which I think had been commissioned by the Clemenger Advertising Agency, which basically got to a top 40 of people's fears in Australia. And I believe that's what you'd like to talk about.
Well, I think it was quite interesting to see how we've changed. The Clemengers did a survey of Australia's worries 12 years ago, and at that time the things that we were interested in included things like secret union ballots, teachers striking, and confusion about the metric system, because there are some that are still confused, Bert.
Me too.
And now these days the top concerns are drug-related crimes, and we think, as a nation, we think children are at risk. We're worried about child abuse, and we're worried about drugs being peddled in the schoolyard, which is fairly appropriate because you've got a lot of school children here today, haven't you?
Sure. Are there worries mainly of the older group of the population, or the young people too?
No, just nationally, a survey of Australians of different ages, you know, except for Tasmania. I don't know why poor Tasmania
I think they had other things on their mind, probably, while the thing was being done.
That was probably it.
Ita, what else did they concern themselves about?
Well, I think those were the most interesting ones because, you know, it reflects our concern about the country's future. Environmental matters showed up, but I think another interesting fact that emerged was that as a nation we used to trust politicians. We don't anymore. 66% of the people surveyed said that they felt that politicians were only interested in getting elected, and that that the leadership had let us down, and that we felt that politicians, bureaucrats and the police were not doing the right thing by us. We sound fairly disillusioned with things.
This might be a good chance because we've got an audience with a lot of young people here. Just the kids from the colleges that I mentioned before, and I'll ask you some straight questions, and just raise your hand if you will. How many of you trust politicians generally?
The survey's right, Bert.
Yeah, well, obviously I don't have to ask the other question, do I? How many of you don't trust them? Yeah, OK. What about the police? How many of you trust and have respect for police forces? How many don't have trust and respect for the police force? You're in trouble, kid. Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting. So I think politicians need to think perhaps about what image they're giving out to the community. Why is it that we don't think they can be trusted? It
would be interesting too, Ida, I'm sure for you too, to find out from the kids. I mean, basically, an election must be won in Australia by one of the two major parties. If you were old enough to vote, who would vote? You don't have to answer this, of course, but... Well, no, I'll rephrase it. Who do you think will win the next election, Labor or Liberal? Those of you who believe Labor. Right. I suppose we should be giving a hand count. What's that about? I suppose about 8, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No, less. About 6? OK, those of you who believe Liberal. Good times for you, Andrew, obviously,
there's
these kids.
Quite a few that didn't put their hands up at all.
OK, Greenies, put your hands up.
Yeah.
Any for the Greenies?
There's a greenie in a green shirt.
There's one greenie, yes, who's about 28 years of age. OK, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yes. Is there any truth in the rumour that Andrew's Peacock's coming on the program next?
No, I would think that, you know, certainly 5 years ago, I think the result would have been very, very different with young people because they were very Labor-minded. Don't you believe that?
Very Labor-minded, but there has been a change. I think we are going through tough times. I think we will survive them. I think the Treasurer is right. If we put a little more effort, a little more productivity into our jobs, that is the right way to go by the country. You know, more productivity, more money. That's the only way you can get a pay increase.
Ita, in this Commission survey, did it show that women were more concerned about these problems than men?
Yes, basically yes. And women are also very concerned about safety matters. I mean, women are concerned about environment, about the future for their children, and about safety. And in Sydney in particular, women are very frightened, although that concern is nationwide, but Sydney more than anywhere else, probably because it's the biggest city and it does appear to be the most unsafe, because there has been such a huge increase of attacks on women in parks, on trains. Only last night in Sydney, a 16-year-old girl was a nurse's aide, going home late, was attacked on a train by 3 youths with a knife. So, you know, I think women are really worried about what is happening.
What's causing that, do you believe, Ita? It can't be drugs alone, can it?
I think there are a lot of stresses on family life. I mean, if we look at child abuse, that is stress on the family that often causes that to happen. When we look at drug taking, and drug taking of youngsters in schools, which certainly goes on, and it appears that young men and women at school know where they can get the drugs from. Cocaine can be ordered a fortnight in advance at some schools, and others just place orders. Not with a mythical evil heroin giver out, but from sisters and brothers. You know, older sisters and brothers giving the drugs to the kids. And why do they do it? Because I think everyone's a bit uncertain. I think we've never been through such uncertain, changing times. And young people in particular wonder, is there a future? Are we going to blow up the world? Is the environment going to be destroyed? Will they get a job?
Surely that's relative, though. I mean, when you were a kid, when I was a kid, we had major worries about, well, I had a world war to concern myself about.
I don't honestly remember having any major worry. And I know that when I left school, I could have taken 4 different jobs. You know, I had a choice of 4. When I was 15, I had a choice of 4 jobs, and I could have taken any one of them. I don't remember I don't think I thought that anyone was going to destroy the world. I don't think I thought there could be a nuclear war, and I certainly don't think I ever thought that maybe environmentally there would be a problem, because they were not concerns of the day.
Do you think it's I know it's the worry, do you think it's the responsibility of politicians and church people to try and right the situation, not only to help on the spot and do in-field service, but also to try to get back to the Australian persona, particularly the young Australian persona, a feeling of confidence and belief there is a future? I
think that if the nation feels so strongly about the leadership having let them down, that's saying something to people who are leading the country. I think that is not only aimed at politicians. I think that is at anyone who's in a position of leadership. So it could be the trade union movement, it can be people running companies. But I don't think as a nation we can look only to government and to others to solve our problems. I think we have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves what we're doing wrong, because we're not functioning correctly either. So I suppose what you have to do is make a commitment back to the way we want to live. I mean, if we want happy families, so to speak, well then we should ask ourselves, are we doing the right thing by the family ourselves as individuals? Do we love the children well enough? Do we communicate with our children well enough? Do we listen well enough? Are working mothers too tired to be as good as mothers as they ought to be? And I think most working mothers would say, yeah, we are often very tired, and that's a big stress on us. And we have to rectify some of those faults, and leaders have to look at theirs too.
OK, just one, we're almost out of time, but one quick question, just my own personal satisfaction. Just after the release of the last edition of the magazine, Ita, I did my own personal survey.
Yes.
Went to 3 newsagents, and each of the 3 had sold out. And I know in one particular case, his buy was a pretty big one. But I then hear criticism that it's going to fail, it's going to fall, it's not going to last. That criticism, I heard you talking about this with Don Chipp the other day on radio, and is it because of personal jealousy of you, because the magazine is not successful, or 3, because you're a woman? And there are vested interests who are, they're aiming at you, aren't they?
I think all of those things. I think it's a great tragedy that somebody who is prepared to have a go, to set up a company in Australia for Australians, employ people, create job opportunities, continually has to put down these rumours. And I'm actually speaking at the Advertising Club lunch here in Victoria today, and I'm going to address those. And we are not folding, we are not for sale, we can pay our bills. I'm not under contract to people, not to mention products. I mean, I've heard so many strange things about the magazine, and I know a lot of it comes from our competitors. And I know it comes from a lot of people who unfortunately don't like people who try, who want to put their head up above the crowd. I mean, I'm just very determined to succeed, and I think as Australians, we should applaud Australians that have a go and stop knocking them.
OK, Ida, lovely seeing you.
Thank you.
Ita Buttrose. That makes sense. I don't think we need a survey on that. We'll take a break. We've got a young girl whom we discovered on this program a couple of weeks ago who sings up a storm, as a former TV partner of mine would say. Margarita joins us after this break.